Mkhari, I decided to give the knowledge, the little knowledge that I have, back to our sisters, to our brothers, so that also they can grow their businesses to greater heights. The Enhanced Success Summit. And thank you to the speakers that have really done powerful presentations, you know, powerful speakers, good people, and people who have really succeeded in their industries. Thank you to the entrepreneurs who took time, you know, from their busy schedules and made sure that they are here and take leave if you are at work, and you made sure that you are here. And some of them come from Kimberley. It's amazing because it's just the first summit that we've ever held as Gauteng. That is Sikelela Medical, who has really sponsored this, and helped by GEP as well, as you can see the boards over there. So let's start now about how to successfully venture into medical supplies. Who knows what medical supplies is all about? I'm a lecturer, so I like to remember I taught you. So, yeah, so what is medical supplies? What do you understand by medical supplies? Yes. Anything that is used in a hospital environment to treat a patient, whether it's in a clinic or whatever. So we've, in South Africa, healthcare in South Africa varies from the most basic primary healthcare, those are the clinics, offered free by the state, that is our government, to highly specialized healthcare services, which is offered by both government and private sector. So you've got two places to look at when you're an entrepreneur. You must look at government, you must look at private sector. Our public sector, you know very well that it is very, very much stretched. It's under-resourced. The state contributes 40% of all expenditure on health, and the public sector is under pressure to deliver services to 80% of the population. That's a big number. Then what does it mean for entrepreneurs? There's business. There's a slice for everybody. The private sector, on the other hand, is run largely on commercial lines and caters to middle and high income earners. These middle and high income earners are mostly having medical aids, their own medical aids. The quality of healthcare in South Africa has fallen while access has improved. This is due to underfunding and deteriorating infrastructure, burden of challenges like TB, for example, and HIV. However, the South African government is responding with a far-reaching reform plan to revitalize and restructure the South African care system, including fast-tracking the implementation of a national healthcare insurance scheme, which government has just founded recently, which will eventually cover all South Africans. What does this mean to entrepreneurs in this country and to those who aim to venture into this industry? It means more hospitals built, as the MEC mentioned earlier on, and Ipeleng Mkhari. And it means more equipment bought by government, more money for entrepreneurs in this industry, medical industry. It means that there'll be more care professionals like doctors, nurses, whatever, being employed. And thus, as you are building infrastructure, you're creating jobs, people will get jobs, more job creation. Very good for government, because that's what government is working on. Government is currently strengthening the fight against HIV. You know, South Africa, or Africa as a whole, has a challenge of HIV. What does that mean for an entrepreneur? It means that you've got a slice in the pharmaceutical industry, because that's where all the medicines are used. And therefore, if you venture into pharmaceuticals, you stand a chance of succeeding, because there's TB, there is HIV, there's cholera. That is really a big threat to our society. This national health NHI will deploy health teams to communities and schools, regulating health to be affordable to all, increasing life expectancy from 56 to 58 years by 2014. So if you plan to start now, which is now, it's 2012, you can imagine how much you're going to make by 2014 if you start today and open a medical supplies company. So it's never too late, and it is not late as yet. Expenditure. Let me give you a background of how government works. The bulk of our healthcare comes from National Treasury. You know, National Treasury controls the whole country's budget. It comes from National Treasury, but you must also understand that there's also provincial government. So there's also business through provinces. Provinces also control their own budgets as well. So you've got business nationally, you've got business provincially, you also have business locally. Locally, we're talking about municipalities. Look at those branches as you are building your entrepreneurial diagram. In 2011 alone, the total spent on health was 248 billion, or around 8.3% of the GDP of this country, way above the 5% recommended by the World Health Organization. According to National Treasury Fiscal Review for 2011, 120 billion, which is 48% in private sector alone, was covering only 60.2% of the population. What does this mean? It means that private sector is spending so much and yet is covering a little bit, you know, a few people. And yet the government sector is covering close to the amount that is being covered by private sector, yet 80% of the population. You know, we're about around 50 million, aren't we, in South Africa? 80% of that is covered and taken care by government. Lot of money to be made, hey? 280 billion. Just have 5% of that 280 billion. We can all share, hey? Yeah. So there's still space in the medical industry, and we really need you guys to venture into this industry. Okay, Provincial Health Department provides comprehensive health services via district-based public health. What does public health care model? What does that mean? It means Mpumalanga, for example, has got districts, different districts all over Mpumalanga that buy for certain clinics, maybe 50 clinics, for example. So one district maybe with 50 clinics under it, or 20 clinics. So there's also district-based community care model that government uses to purchase any medical goods or supplies. Local hospital management has delegated budget to facilitate quicker responses to local needs. Public sector consumes about 11% of the total budget of South Africa. So 11% of the total budget is what? Is health. The Health Charter has been devised with the aim of creating a platform for engagement between sectors to address issues of access, equity, and quality. We have access to hospitals, but do we have quality? We do not have quality. When you compare us with Brazil, when you compare us with Mexico, with you know, the Asian countries, we are far behind in terms of, you know, quality, in terms of our healthcare. I know most of you here wouldn't like to go to a government hospital, but we have to send our sisters and brothers and mothers to government hospitals. You can imagine what experiences they experience when they get there. It's not very nice. They are not clean. Hospitals are not clean. They are not well equipped. Things are really falling apart, you know. But government has come now with this NHI, which is gonna change things. The National Health Insurance Fund, National Health Insurance scheme or whatever. The Department of Health is focused on implementing health system that will promote equity. All people must have equal health and efficiency. We must also have efficient services like net care, Mediclinic and life. And we must also have quality healthcare services regardless of employment status and ability to make a direct monetary contribution to NHI. The NHI will be phased in over 14 years. Imagine if you start your business now. In 14 years, I started my business in 2002. That was 10 years ago. Today, I am proud to tell you that I'm a multi-millionaire. That was only 10 years ago. In 14 years, if you start today to have a medical supplies company, whether it's in pharmaceuticals or equipment or consumables, where will you be in 14 years? It's possible, it's practical. The NHI will be phased over 14 years, beginning 2012. In 2013, and 2012 and 2013, the government has earmarked 1 billion. Only 1 billion will be spent from this year to next year, only 1 billion. Just target 5% of that 1 billion as a startup. This will start in KZ, and I'm giving you information now. This will start. Don't ask me where I got this information from, but I have it. Start with KZN. It will be implemented. Follows Eastern Cape. Those will be the 2 pilot projects. What is a pilot project? A pilot project is where you test whatever to make sure that it works. So 2012, 2013, 1 billion is awaiting pilot study. Is starting. So look for tenders from November to January. Tenders are gonna come out, hey? In KZN, and in the Eastern Cape region. Facilities. You have to understand where you are. Where you are doing your business, your environment, what's happening in your business. You have to understand it very well. You have 4,200 hospitals in this country. Those 4,200 hospitals are spread, uniformly in the rural areas and in the urban areas. Mostly they are in the urban areas, few are in the rural areas, and most clinics are in the rural areas. Only 4,200 hospitals in this country, and 1,300 clinics in the country, 265 laboratories. So as an entrepreneur, what does that mean? You can decide to only survive with laboratory equipment, that is testing AIDS, the HIV test and whatever. You can make millions out of it. You can target both medical or dental, whatever. There is 4,200 hospitals. Out of those hospitals, there's always a medical section, a dental section, and pharmaceutical section. 1,003 clinics, the same applies. The 3 sectors are also involved in those. The cake is just too big. I cannot be the only black company that is a #1 equipment company. We need you guys to venture into this industry. Okay, how to start? I always refer to how I started. Different speakers have spoken to you. They've told you how they started and what they believe in. This is what worked for me when I started 10 years ago. I was a part-time lecturer at Medunsa, lecturing in orthodontics. I decided that, I'm not gonna grow gray here, taking out these teeth for the rest of my life. One way, I must find a way of getting out of this place. It was difficult indeed, because I was used to a salary, small salary, not a big one. We're not very paid well at that time. Now we are paid well. So not a very big salary, but a comfortable salary. But and I also had a practice in Atteridgeville, you know, practicing. They're having 2 surgeries. But still, man, when this salary came every month, I looked at it and I was saying to myself, you know, it's like I'm eating and then it's going this way, eating and going this way. There's nothing that is staying. You know, I'm not remaining with any, I'm not creating wealth in this thing, and I'll never be wealthy. So I decided to then take a paper and resign. That was the most difficult decision. There was a time where my husband had to buy everything. Ladies, you know what I mean? Everything. I mean everything. You know? Yeah. But I had to do it because I realized if I have to be wealthy, I have to get out of the environment I was in at that time. Another thing that drove me to get out of the environment is the passion. Yes, we grew up being told that you have to be a doctor, hey, you have to be a lawyer, then you've made it. Then that's how I got into dentistry in the first place. I didn't even know what the name dentistry meant. I just happened to have good results. Then when the selection was made and everybody was applying, I also put my CV. I think you remember, AK. I put my application form. Then I got selected to dentistry. Can you realize that it was not something from the heart? So if something is not from the heart, can you perform it well? Let me tell you my secret. I don't tell people this. I used to be a latecomer. Coming to work, I will drag my feet to go to work. I will be pushed to go to work. It was pain to go to work. Having a boss was painful. You remember AK, ne? It was painful. The lady who was my boss had not done anything to me. The problem was with me, because I was not supposed to be where I was. So guys, never follow into my footsteps. Do what you enjoy the most, what you are passionate about. So I started with a small office. I suggest don't start too big. Start with a small office. It was my practice at the back. It was my small sigelela in front. With only one table. You know those tables that you use when there's a funeral? The metal ones. Yes, and 2 plastic chairs. That's where my PA sat and my 2 sales reps. We were 3 of us. Then I grew to the business to where it is today. That's how I started small. Make sure that you target your market very, very carefully. If you want to go into the medical supplies industry, divided into medical equipment, medical consumables, dental equipment, dental consumables, pharmaceuticals. Know what to start with. Always start with easy items. For example, consumables. Consumables are things that you use in the hospital and finish those items, you know, easily. And it's quicker to sell them. They are not capital intensive. Always start with things that are not capital intensive. Then from there, make sure you your products have certifications. Quality products. Sell quality products that are ISO, CE marked and have radiation certificates. For example, from the Western Cape. That's where you get your radiation for your equipment. For consumables, make sure that your consumables are SAPS approved. They have a CE mark, they've got an ISO mark. You will win the tender. Sigelela is not winning the tender because it's Sigelela. It's winning the tender because it's following what government wants. And if you follow what government wants, you will win tenders and you'll get to where I am. Then make sure that when you're doing the dental consumables, still, it's a very, you know, white-dominated industry. I think for the past 10 years in the dental section, and I'm begging you guys, those who want to venture into this industry must look at the dental section. You do not need to have the knowledge of doing dental. You know, when you're an entrepreneur, you don't need to have a knowledge of that industry in particular. You just need to have the vision and the passion of doing it well and getting the skills to help you do the thing, and it must succeed. There is a shortage of black people in the dental industry, then dental equipment and dental consumable industry. We need to venture into this. When I'm tendering, I'm the only black female that tenders in that market. Where are the other female? Where's everybody? It's not right. I'm the only black. Every year I'm winning the contract for the past 10 years. From the day I started. When am I gonna see a black female joining me? When? We need black females to join us. And I'm still the only one up to now. No, guys, do something. Go and register companies if you don't have them. Start with this dental thing and master it. I'll tell you how to do it. Okay? Let's go to the pharmaceutical section. Never start with the pharmaceutical section. Do it last. It needs lots of licenses. You must have a pharmacy license. You must have a manufacturer's license if you want to be in manufacturing. You must have, there's lots of regulations. It's capital intensive. It takes longer. Never ever start with it. It must be the last thing to do once you have accumulated your cash flow and you've got lots of money in reserve to start it. For example, for you to register a medicine, it takes about 5 years. You must go and source it from India, bring it into the country, and register it with the MCC, and you must employ consultants to do those dossiers because it takes a long time. 5 years to have a pharmacy, a wholesaler license where you're going to distribute, for example, from Aspen to your company and then to the hospital. It takes about 6 months. That is better. Manufacturing license where you have to manufacture either in the country or you get your product from India and bring it here. Then you have to really make sure that you must spare 1.5 years to get that license. And it's very strict because it's a well-controlled environment because of the sensitivity of keeping medicines and etc. Where do you source now these dental equipments and materials and medical equipment and medical consumables I'm talking about, and pharmaceuticals as well? People, you have to go out of this country. The MEC mentioned earlier to you that it is very disheartening that there's no company that manufactures these things. So all of us, you go outside. Where do you go? Don't miss the November Medica at Düsseldorf. That is in Germany. That's where every product is. That's where you're gonna get your supplier. Because if you buy locally, you're not gonna be competitive. And therefore, you might not last for even 6 months. Go out of the country, import your products from different countries like India, Germany, US, and bring them into the country and then start marketing your product into hospitals. Or in terms of gloves, you can manufacture. There's a company that is manufacturing gloves in Bronkhorstspruit. That company is called Green something, but I think they get raw materials from Thailand and then start manufacturing gloves in the country. You can also go that way as well, but other things are really not yet you cannot really manufacture them locally. And then how to then I've spoken about this. How to get business now from in this industry, medical supplies industry. Whether they call you tenderpreneur or what, there is just no way you're gonna be a multimillionaire without doing a tender in this country. No, we're talking about serious tenders. We're not talking about change. You have to tender, and therefore you have to know how to tender. And the National Treasury gives you that information. They've got training facilities in Centurion where they will train you exactly how to do it the right way, so that you don't miss a single page. You make sure that each and every page is filled, is completed perfectly, and all the certifications are there, being the tax clearance, your BE certificates, your ID, all those things. And then you must mind one thing: government is still about empowering South Africans. You have to make sure that if in your organization, even if you are white, you must have some element of blackness in your company, in management and in your executive, at executive level. Make sure that your PE requirements are in place. You employ females. Females, I don't know why you are not opening your businesses, because females are really empowered by this government. That's one reason Sikelela is succeeding. It's being empowered by government. Make sure as well that you don't discriminate, disabled people. Employ them. You get lots of points from employing disabled people. Make sure that also you understand the 90-10 and 80-20 scoring. Is very important. These big companies, what they will do, if the tender is 80-20, they will come and grab Jeff, and Jeff, can I tender with you? And Jeff becomes a front because the score is what is 80-20. If it's 90-10, no, today we're tendering alone. Never allow that. Never allow yourself to be a front. The MEC mentioned this here. No matter how desperate you are, never front in any kind of business. There is also, besides tendering, there is buyouts. Buyouts is when you walk into a hospital, show the sister, the doctor, your product. She or he likes it, then places an order with you directly without any, and they're always below 500,000, sorry, 500,000 rands. Make sure that if you are going to expand and go to other provinces, you've got an office there. Don't front. Make sure that you've got an office there and you are creating jobs in that, or rather stick to Gauteng and work from Gauteng. But don't front and say you've got an office in KZN and yet you don't have it. Because you know what? When the tender is being awarded, Malon, they come to offices, ne? And they inspect. Never front. I don't care how desperate you are. Do things the right way. And then, how to sustain yourself now in this medical supplies industry. Number one, understand your competition. Number two, always be ahead of them. Choose your products very well. Please, guys, don't do everything. You cannot be in optometry. You're selling optometry products. You're selling dental products. You're selling cardiology products. You're selling things that are not related, Even though they are all health-related things, but you cannot do them and do them well all. You have to, for example, I'll talk about Sigelela. We are Philips. Philips is medical equipment that deals with different types of machines. Most of them are heart-related. It's angios, fluoroscopies, X-rays, monitors. Monitors, you monitor the heart. Everything goes. Defibrillators, they still go to the heart. You know what Sigelela does? Then, so that they don't depend entirely on Philips, they go out and look for what? For cardiology products. Those are consumables that go with what? I'm already selling. Ne? And then I already understand that industry, so I can do very well, and I can talk to a cardiologist very well because I'm already selling him an angio. So don't mix optometry products with cardiology products. You get confused, and then you won't be the best in what you do. Ne? And then also make sure that you identify your niche market. If you want to go dental fully and make sure that you excel in dental. If you want to go the medical equipment supplies way, make sure that you excel in that as well. If you want to go consumables, you can mix medical consumables and medical equipment, dental consumables, dental equipment, and pharmaceuticals. But now, once you start going to physiotherapy and optometry and occupational therapy, then you're confusing your market. Give people who, who are specialized in that industry to play in that industry and excel in it. You can't compete everywhere. You'll end up, being lost somewhere. And select the right motivated team. It is very, very important to have motivated staff, passionate staff. Invest in your people that you are employing, because Sigelela is no Sigelela without my employees. You have to make sure you invest properly on your employees. Empower your team, invest profits. We've got a problem as black people. When we start being rich or wealthy, we want to be seen driving all these Range Rovers, staying in Sandhurst, even if we cannot afford at the moment, but you just, got that one big tender. Don't do that. Make sure that when you've got your profits, you take them, reinvest your profits into a money market or into a growing fund that will then be plowed back into your business, which will further grow your business, and you'll just be wealthy and wealthy and wealthy. Do you understand? Don't eat your profits. That's our weakness as black people. You go and borrow money, you take this money from GEP or from NEF, instead of using it for this, you go and use it for that. Don't do that. That's where we fail as black people, And then manage your cash flow and cut costs at all times. Price well. On-time delivery is very important. After-sales service, we are the only black company in the country that has got a technical department that repairs, maintain, and service the equipment. Malone can witness to that. We are having engineers that are employed by Sigelela, females and males that we've empowered to do this job. Let this not be a man industry, the technical one. Let's change it to also be a female industry. Make sure that your turnaround on technical issues is fast, and check your BE status. Make sure that your taxes are in place. Insist on a 60-day account with your supplier. Have a good accountant, but be in charge of your checkbook and bank account. Don't let your accountant be in charge of your monies. Otherwise, your company will. Be resilient. Never front again, I emphasize. Dream big and live your dream. Thank you.